Oh, so you may have noticed we changed location, and today's location has been brought to you by our amazing AV team, Bob Dramoni, Ryan Ogle, Nick Sonricker, set up an entire studio space in 30 minutes, and they are absolute rock stars. So there was a nursing exam scheduled in the Senate room, because I don't know. I'm going to go with I messed that up somehow. So I apologize. Thank you, everybody, for being flexible. I did just double-check room reservations, and we will be back in the Senate room for May and the June meetings. So I apologize for that, and Bob called me at 10 to 2, and we made things happen quick. I didn't. I just said, okay, do what you got to do, Bob, make the magic happen, and he did. So thank you very much to our AV team, rock stars. So today is April 18th. We have 2 regular Senate meetings left in this semester. We have 4 weeks left of the semester. I feel like I'm constantly counting down till the end, but I just can't believe how quickly this semester is flying by. We got back from spring break. Last day of the withdrawal was a week ago, and now we are fast approaching final exams and graduation. So with that, I want to keep in mind that it is also Mental Health Week, and a lot of our students are experiencing all the feels. It's high pressure time, end of the semester, pressure for graduation coming up, pressure for registering for the fall, all of that stuff. We have the Oasis app that is available on our website that students can also download, and there's a bunch of resources that are available through that. I have the app on my phone. It's really neat. You can kind of just pick whatever it is that you're thinking about, and it'll direct you to resources that we have at the college. So feel free to make sure you share that with your students. Great resource. Also, we've been doing some faculty-led registration days for the fall that started yesterday was the first one. We had 54 students registered for the fall at South, 32 at North, and 30 at City. We had 116 students register yesterday. It's awesome. Awesome, awesome. We have another registration day on Thursday at all 3 campuses. It's 10 to 2:30 p.m. South is at the library, City's at the Flickinger, and North is at the STEM building. There are boxed lunches. There's information for scholarships, financial aid, textbook scholarships. There's also cards for our students they can use in the cafeteria. There are opportunities to, with little tickets, there's computers, there's iPads, there's gas cards to tops and raffles, so really great stuff. Please encourage your students to come down there. I brought my entire class on Monday to the event at South Campus, and everybody got registered. I'm also giving extra credit to each of my students online and seated if they show me a copy of their schedule. I do this every semester. It's 5 points. 5 points isn't going to make or break me, and it's amazing how much students will work for just 5 points. For students that are transferring, I still allow them the extra credit opportunity, show me your class schedule, or some sort of verification that they are going to be somewhere in the fall. Students that are graduating, show me the graduation application to verify that. So everybody has an opportunity for partial credit, partial extra credit. So I encourage you to do that. It's 5 points, it's easy. And one of the best ways to retain our students is to make sure they leave this semester with a schedule for the fall semester. And also having those conversations with our students, we can talk to them about summer school. About half the students I worked with, I got them enrolled in 1 or 2 summer classes as well. So again, that's still going to help the bottom line and the bottom dollar for the college, and it's also going to help our students with that. So one of the things that I remind my students for if they have TAP or if they're using Excelsior, they need 30 credit hours per semester. If they maybe drop the class and are at 27, they can take a summer class and still hit that 30. Right? So some of our students are not aware of that, so that's something that we can make sure that we share. May 2nd is going to be a new student acceptance day. It's brand new, something that we haven't done before. As some of us in the faculty have children that are going away to school or looking at colleges and things like that, we're starting to see what other colleges have. So Chris Polinsky, myself, and a few other faculty members approached our enrollment management to try and do a similar type of day with accepted students. So new students coming in will have venues at the same 3 places that the registration event is, Flickinger at City, STEM at North, and then the library at South, where new students can come in, they can get their financial aid, they can do scholarships, and they can register for the fall semester as well. So very exciting stuff coming up. And next week is open house, which I almost forgot. So again, open house is next week. And I don't want to mess up the dates. So, oh, that is the wrong date. So that's not the right one. It's 3 days next week. It's the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So it's the 25th, 26th, and 27th next week. Also very fun event. So I hope to see everybody there. I'll be at South. I won't be at the other campuses. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Sagai.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right, thank you. So just continuing on that theme, right, of what Colleen was talking about, our student first. And so we know we talked about this and this idea of the new enrollment, the retention is the new enrollment, and that's going to happen through this process. So for us to register, how many was it, Eric? How many did we register? 100, that's awesome in one day. Let's clap for that, right? That is our first focus. The first focus is really our students. And that, right, everything that we do, we need to be student-ready college. What does that mean? That means all of us at our level, we need to make sure that not only our new students, but our continued students are doing really well. And when is graduation? I'm sorry, when?
May 24th.
May 24th. That's going to be an awesome day for us, right? So we really need to focus on that. With that, we had our Chancellor visiting our college on April 5th. Guess what? That was a time where our faculty and our students were off, but we showed up, right? It matters when we show up. How many students did we have? How many students did we have? 50, right? Folks came to me and said, we have 48. Phil, what did I ask you to do? We have 48 students. I said, get 2 more, right? We needed 2 more to be 50, right? We had 50 students show up. That's awesome. On a break, right? What about our faculty? How many faculty to show up? They were on break. How many to show up? 25. Awesome. I promise you, next time I'll bring candy. 25, right? What about our community partners and industry partners in our K-12? How many showed up? How many showed up? Take a guess. 20. One more. 22. One more. 25. Right? That's awesome. When people were off, they showed up. So my point is that we show up when we asked to do. So thank you so much for showing up and being meeting our Chancellor. He had an opportunity to visit our college. He had an opportunity to walk around and talk to us, right? Part of what we wanted to make sure is that we highlight our college and what that looks like. So he also took the opportunity to go down to Northland and visit our extension site, because what we want to do is make sure that we are serving the entire community of Western New York. And I think we were able to demonstrate that. And I think you saw the picture of all those, the sites that our Chancellor went and visited, right? The other thing that's exciting, next week, the 24th, we have our four of our students are going to be part of the Chancellor Award. Colleen and I and others with our students, I think Jason Perry, are going to be going on Sunday to Albany to make sure that we participate in the award ceremony for our students. So I'm excited about that. With that, Jessica, would you like to come up from Foundation to give us a little bit of an update as to what our foundation is doing right now?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Audium. A couple of updates for the foundation. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jessica Notarius. I'm the interim executive director for the foundation. Scholarships are open for students until the second week of June. If you have any questions, or if you know of students that have questions, we're always available. We're in G154. You can also call us, and we have an email as well, foundation@ecc.edu. I also have some exciting news. As you guys have probably seen through all the staff and student emails, we have brought back an event. It's called SUNY Erie Celebrates. We will be handing out awards to faculty, staff, students, and alumni. We've extended that nomination period until tomorrow. So if you have someone in mind you want to apply, I'll have flyers in the back, or you can catch me at the back of the room. You can also email me at notarius@ecc.edu. We also would love to have a very large presence from students, alumni, and faculty and staff to be at the event. Tickets are $60. I can share more information about that, but we're hoping to really have a large presence so we can celebrate our college. If you have any questions, we're always available. You can reach me by phone, email, and in G154. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. One of the things that, as I mentioned, is to show off our college and the things that we have at the college. So we had the pleasure of hosting the foundation at the Nanotech conference room. We want to make sure that when we do have these meetings, that we have them at our college. And one of the things that I am working very hard to do is bring the community to our college to show off all the things that we're doing and the places that we have and the kind of programming that we have, so that people could really see what the college is all about. So tomorrow, we have what we call Advisory Council and Superintendent Breakfast. We hosted this last year as well. This is an opportunity to bring all of our partners as well as community leaders into our college. We will be having this as a short breakfast from 8 to 10 o'clock. Really, again, the purpose behind this is to really talk about what we are doing at the college, but more importantly, to thank our partners, because without our partners, we cannot be successful. We want to make sure that our students have the opportunity to work with our partners, right? That is either internship or to be able to get a job opportunity with our partners, including our K to 12. So we'll be having that tomorrow. With that, I think I'm good. Yeah, thank you. Any questions for me? No? All right, thank you so much. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sagai. All right, so we're going to move on to the approval of the minutes from the March 2023 meeting. The minutes have been posted. I'd like to take a motion to accept them. Allison, second. Gordy, thank you. Any discussion or questions? Objections? Okay, and the approval passes. So we're going to move on to old business. First up, we have governance, Michael Rio. I think Bob and Joel and Dean are running mics for me. Rio, raise your hand.
Yeah, we have an election update. There's There's an election coming up for chair and vice chair. Nominations are open. The election will take place from the floor of the Senate in May. And there is a election opening for department heads. Nominations are open now. You can send any nominations if you're a department head or a academic unit chair to Senate Governance at ecc.edu. And nominations will be open until 28th of April, and those elections will run electronic ballot from May 1st to May 5th. There is a list, yeah, so the details are all on the website as well. And the list on top, elected senators and call for appointment. So congratulations to everyone that's starting a new term in June. We're still looking for, electronic technician, part-time non-teaching, part-time teaching, health sciences, City South. If you know anyone that might be interested, encourage them to join us in College Senate. That's the election update, and we have lots of other stuff going on too from governance. Questions? All right. We have a, do you want to move to the motion for the vote? Yeah. So we're bringing back the Academic Assessment Committee bylaws change. We introduced it at the Senate last meeting. The motion from the committee is to open
There it is.
the bylaws, the proposed bylaws change to discussion and a vote. So discussion, I guess, is open at this point.
Okay, we're going to need a motion to accept the proposed bylaw change. Sabrina, a second? Catherine? Okay, so discussion on the proposal. Again, this was introduced last month. This is one of the last academic committees of the college that we are moving underneath the College Senate, similar to how we did General Education and the College-wide Curriculum Committee. Questions? Comments? All right, so the question is, what is the makeup of the committee? And there it is. Can you read it? It's one administrative rep appointed from Academic Affairs, one rep from IRAP, one librarian, one rep from either Gen Ed, either the chair or the vice chair, and then one full-time teaching faculty member from each division. So business, public service, health sciences, liberal arts, math science, liberal arts, social science, liberal arts, English, humanities, and then technologies. Other questions? All right, so this is a bylaw change, so we're going to do it by electronic vote, make it official. So Eric is sending out the vote. Should be going to your phones. Okay, the motion passes at 81% acceptance rate. So, yay, that was a lot of hard work. And I just, some kudos to us as an institution. When we started the College Senate many years ago, we started it as a part of a union contract, because that was the way we had to get the work done with administration at the time. And slowly moving all of these committees underneath the College Senate has been tumultuous at times, trying to put it underneath academics where academics belong. And now we are finally at the point where we are in line with other governance institutes across SUNY. So that's really exciting and kind of a big deal. So thank you, everyone that's been working hard on these initiatives. All right, Michael Higgins was not able to make it for academic standards, but the Board of Trustee Policy Committee for this month has been canceled, and I think next month, so we're just gonna move on from that. And then next up, we have Middle States and Catherine Calesto.
All right. So just a brief update on Middle States. I received an email yesterday from Middle States directly saying that all institutions who participated in virtual visits from spring 20 to fall 22 will be receiving a verification visit in person conducted between May and September of this year. So as I get more information, I'll be sure to update you on that. In addition, with accreditation and compliance efforts, I wanted to let the college community know that as a result of the work of all offices that deal with special populations reporting, this is our Student Access Center, our teams that work for our EOP students, anyone who has worked in our financial aid office, identifying our economically disadvantaged, single parent, foster care, displaced homemaker, and then our migrant and non-resident aliens. As a result of the work of all of those teams, we were able to achieve a 22% increase in our Perkins funding for the upcoming academic year. This results in nearly $200,000 coming to the college, coming to our CTE programs as a result of updated and appropriate reporting of those important students on our campus. So thank you to all of those people. Can we give them a round of applause, please?
Sure.
In addition, again, in regards to compliance, we are in our 4th year of needing to request a Title III waiver. Title III waivers allow us to get a match for our student work studies. So the college doesn't actually wind up expending any costs for our federal work study students. The government pays all of that. So this is the 4th time we've had to request a waiver, and the 2nd time that IRAP has successfully worked to receive that Title III waiver. It's very exciting because that also means that we are able to pursue a Title III Strengthening Institutions Program grant. This grant is designed to help colleges become self-sufficient and expand capacity to improve, strengthen academic quality, institutional management, and fiscal stability. We have a team of SES members who have been reaching out to multiple constituents across our campus who have expertise in the full life cycle of our student. So from onboarding to completion, looking at folks who've worked with us on our co-rec models, on advisement, on curriculum revisions, as we propose a grant which is due very quick turnaround. This became available 2 weeks ago, I believe, maybe 3, and it's due on 5/22. It's about a 60-page grant that we'll be submitting. So I'd like to thank everyone so far that we have tapped shoulders of, and the rest of you, keep your eyes out in your email because you're surely going to be reached out to soon. And then finally, I just wanted to wrap up. You have mission statement there. So revolving around our strategic plan, We have been given direction from our Board of Trustees to work on our strategic plan. There will be upcoming communication from the IRAP office regarding focus groups and surveys that will be working towards the 4 goals that the Board of Trustees defined in. The 4 goals are a combination of things that we heard Chancellor King speak about when he was with us, but also some at-home needs that the college has. So the 4 goals that we've been tasked with defining are student success, diversity, equity, and belonging, economic development and upward mobility of our students, and institutional sustainability. So I'm encouraging you all to keep your eyes open for upcoming focus groups and surveys. Our strategic plan that is due in August. So this will be a very quick turnaround, and they've asked this to be about a 2-year bridge to a longer-term plan.
Okay, great, thank you. Any updates on accreditation, Jackie? All right, no updates on accreditation, thank you. Okay, we're gonna roll over to Dr. Nealons with the strategic enrollment management.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you, Colleen. Colleen did a remarkable job of highlighting most of the different events that are coming up here. So very much appreciate not only the announcement, but also the collaboration. I heard tremendous things with South Campus yesterday and the continued student registration event. Big thanks to Adrian and Colleen as well as marketing. When I highlighted those numbers from yesterday, that was the single day registration I've seen over the last 2 years, outside of like an open registration day or a chair day. So just a tremendous, I think, collaboration amongst all the divisions here, right? As well as the student services, the admissions team, just incredible what we can do together as one college to it. So currently we're looking at 785 students at this time are already registered for the fall semester. That's incredible when you consider at the same point in time last year, we were at 552 students. So we are currently looking at a 42% increase at this point in time compared to last year. And then in terms of credit hours, we're at 52% increase from where we were last year. So just tremendous, also with a huge appreciation for the registrar's team in being able then to have the schedule released here for fall. Summer is looking at similar gains. Just to talk about that here really quick. We're currently at 955 students are registered for the summer. I think, Colleen, to your point, you're seeing that with the emphasis on fall. Summer is a great opportunity for students to be able to catch up, get ahead, while being able then to have that opportunity here over the summer. We're at 955 students at this time are registered. Last year at this point we were 831, so we're up 15% in terms of our summer, both 1 and at summer 2. Open house is exciting. This is a great way for us to be able to welcome and engage with new students interested in our school. As you mentioned, we are going to have now open house at all 3 the campuses, 3 separate days, so I'll be at each one of them, so look forward to seeing each of you there. In terms of those that are pre-registered, we currently have 331 individuals registered at this time. Compared to 222 last year at this point in time, that's a 50% increase in how many individuals are looking to go to our open house. In terms of student prospects, we're looking at 39% increase from where we were last year. And I think when you look around the room, that is a reflection of all of us, right? Working together to really champion ECC within the community. You saw it with the Chancellor visit, our partnerships with the community. People want to be here, and the interest is there. So very much appreciate Mike, and everything that he's doing to be able to get the word out there about open house. I know we're on a bunch of digital fronts and being able then to tap into these new students. And lastly, a big appreciation to both you, Colleen, and Chris coming up with the idea, as well as the entire engagement team. Not everyone may be aware, but there is a faculty-driven volunteer committee that's reaching out to students that are admitted here into the institution on an ongoing basis. The pure intent of it is build those connections early, build the engagement, and I think they've also contributed to the excitement we've seen with Open House, and then hopefully here the Accepted Students Day here on May 2nd. That is going to be at all 3 campuses from 5 to 7 p.m. We are still looking for faculty volunteers that'd be willing then to register students on that day. If interested, please contact my right-hand man, Phil Struble, and he'd be able then to help you get registered on RSVP for the event. So happy to take any questions at this time, but again, just a huge kudos and appreciation for what everyone's doing at this time to help with our enrollment goals.
Any questions for Erickson? All right, real quick, I'm going to do a demo because I forgot to do it earlier. So with the registration days, and let me just go over here. What I've done for my students, so if you go into Workday, it's real easy to email all of your advisees, actually, and any student that you have access to. So to email your students, you're going to Workday, go to your cohort advisees. Come on, there's a little bit of a lag here. Come on. Come on. Oh my goodness. I'm going to make it refresh. Let's see. I swear this works. I did it yesterday. Oh, there we go. All right, so here it is. So you get all of your students, but what you get is their primary ECC address, email address, and then you get their home email address. So you can go to this little X thing, click it, and it's going to export the document, download it, and it's Excel sheet. Open it up. And so what I did their home and their ECC. So you just go ahead, highlight all the way down, super easy. And I'm gonna copy, and then you just toss it in an email. Make sure you do BCC. And then put the information out there. So I did it for both their ECC email addresses and then the home email addresses. Now, obviously with the home email addresses, they might not all be accurate. I did have some bounce back. I mean, I got like 5 email addresses. One is one that gets all my coupons, right? So, but then we're getting them twice. So try to do the home email along with the ECC email, because even though we're trying to get the students to use the ECC email as their primary, they do use the other one. So it's super easy. I mean, it took me 5 seconds, right? So if you think of it, email your students, tell them about the registration day. That's Thursday. Again, it's from 10 to 2:30, all 3 campuses, food, scholarship information, giveaways, gift cards. We were handing out gift cards to almost every single student for $5 to use in the cafeteria. So, I mean, it's like a coffee and, I don't know, whatever else you can get for $5, right? But it's $5 they didn't have walking in the door. So keep that in mind. So that's how to do that real quick. I'm going to stay in Workday. 7.5-week courses. Dave Uzinski has an update. Let me pull Workday back up.
Hi, everyone. While Colleen's getting the fall schedule up, I just wanted to say that we were trying to address the concerns of students not being able to identify the 7.5-week courses in the actual fall schedule because we're listing them now. And so we had a brainstorming session. It was Kathy, Phil, Andy. Who am I missing? I don't know. There was someone else. Who? Oh, of course, Pat Ryan.
Of course, Pat Ryan.
We had to make
man.
sure it could be updated in Brightspace without destroying it. So I'll just pick them all. Doesn't matter.
Pick them all.
No, just do. Don't even pick. Just empty. Okay. And then if you scroll down to AN 102, which I think is the first one alphabetical, That's a half semester course, right there. So you see it's right in the screen there, and there's a date right in the head of the course. So if the students add this to their schedule, it's going to stick out because the other courses don't have that. That's the solution we've come up with so far. Hopefully that works. I'll continue to email students probably through the summer if they are registered for a 7.5-week course, just to make sure that that was intentional and that they notice that there's actually a date in the title. We'll see how that goes. All right, so that was an improvement, I hope. That works out well. We still need some 7.5-week courses for the fall semester. Currently, we have 18 in the schedule, 3 in the first half and 15 in the second half. So if you have any departments that want to add some, I was just having like a minor conversation with the business department, and they said, hey, maybe we could actually do like a sequence in the business department. So we'll see how that works, but if you still have any, sooner is better. And if you could do it before you leave for the summer, and we can get it in the schedule so that students can see it, and we'll have it tagged the same way. Another minor change that we made to the courses was that we actually have a letter identifier after the 7AI or the 7BI to designate the campus. So you'll see a 7BIS, 7BIN, or 7BIC. And that was based on the full-time faculty who's currently slated to teach the course. Just an update to the spring. Final numbers for the spring half-semester courses were 561 seats. That's up from 92 in the last spring. And I believe it's about 2.5% of all the seats that are out there. So that's pretty good.
Great.
And I did like a preliminary fall grade analysis because, of course, having students sitting in those courses but failing would not be success. And so I took a look at student average grade and performance in the fall semester courses, and they were very close to the courses that were offered at the same time during the 15-week period. So I'll do a more detailed analysis for the fall and spring coming up when we get the spring grades in. And I think that's it. Does anyone have any questions or anything about the 7.5-week courses?
Awesome, thanks. I'm going to have you pass it right to Paul Daniel across the aisle. All right, so we have a facilities update with Paul. It's quick, he said, but they did send a new slide deck from the bills.
Really not a whole lot has changed since last month. If you go to the next slide, Colleen, the only thing they really did, they made a little clearer indication of where the South Campus is relative to the new stadium. The next slide, like I said, we're going to zip through this. That, again, they just tagged where the South Campus is. You can go to the next slide because, like I said, they really haven't done a whole lot. We went over that last month. We can go to the next slide. This might be something that you'd want to look at. At the bottom there, it's very tough to see, but the community benefits agreement has been finalized. It's rather vague. You can find it at erie.gov, and you go to, it's under the law department, and it's in the Buffalo Bills document folder, for lack of a better description. It's about 24 pages. The bills are committing to paying or providing $3 million a year for 30 years for various community-wide benefits, not specifically to the college, but I mean, there's a whole host of things in there. The next slide, I think that more or less just shows a little bit. That's a little bit new. But coincides with what they said last month. The work, they've started doing some post setting this month. The demolition has not begun. The existing utility relocations are still not done. We have a contract it's either going to be between the Water Authority and the college or the Water Authority and DPW. On speaking to the county attorney, it's probably going to be between the Water Authority and the college and the county, and DPW, but that really isn't anything special. This is the same as last month. Gilbane Turner is slowly starting to move into Building 1. I think the next slide, Colleen. That, I think, was a question last month that just shows a little clearer, which lots are going to be more towards Gilbane Turner or the Bills. Lot F is mostly going to be construction trailers. Lot G and also the small lot in front of it, which used to be the DMV lot, those will remain ours until the construction is completed. Then Lot F is going to come back to the college, and Lot G will slowly be incorporated into the Bills footprint. Next slide, please. This is just more or less a summary of what we already went over about the site work. I think, oh, no, that was the, actually, you can go back to that, Colleen, because, or that's fine. You can go back to towards the end. They updated this slide as well. I know this was questioned last time. We discussed on the other morning, and Dr. Sagai, Adrian Rannick, I believe Colleen Reedy will be reaching out to various faculty leadership people to start the actual planning process for these various internships, co-ops, whatever. And I think that was the last slide. Yep. Yes. So any questions on that? Perfect.
Great. I was going to say, I know there's a meeting on Thursday at 2 at South with faculty leaders from South Campus, and I know a few other administrators will be there as well, and staff to talk about curriculum, internship opportunities, guest speakers in conjunction with the Bills and Turner. So that'll be Thursday. So that'll be some new updates coming out of that also. Okay, thank you, Paul.
Yep.
Graduation, Dan Frontera.
36 days and counting. May 24th, right now we have approximately 621 students who have RSVP'd to walk. I would like to say thank you to the 60 faculty who have volunteered to walk and those who have volunteered to carry out the placards. We'll be breaking down students by division to bring them out and to call them up on stage. So it's going to be a little different this year. We also have about 30 staff who will be on site to help us that day. We're rolling. 36 days and counting, and everything is set to roll. Questions?
Where's the after party?
Unfortunately, that is actually not going to be able to happen this year.
Oh, man. It'll be at my house. All right. Thanks, Dan. All right, we're going to move on to new business, and I'm going to have Senator Erica Hendra, not Vice Chair Erica Hendra, to be clear, present. I got to find it. It should be under building items. It's not there. Why is it not on yours? I don't know. Oh, there it is. Oh, God. It's very small. You gotta make it like 300% or something. What's this over here? Oh,
Okay, while you're doing that, while Colleen's getting it set up, I'm going to give you guys some context about this resolution. Every time we have gone to hire an academic administrator in probably the past 3 or 4 years, there's been this back and forth between HR and Colleen about needing to justify the need for a CGL on our academic searches. Oh, CGL is Campus Governance Leader. Thanks for that. You're welcome. Are we all set? Good. Okay. And so where this resolution came from is just an idea to try and codify, to kind of cut down on that back and forth. So our union, of course, through the collective bargaining agreements, they automatically get included on important searches. And so this is our way, through the Senate method, to make sure that then we have Senate representation on important searches. So the whereas statements, the first three basically just set up the basic context and the role of public colleges and a quick reminder of what shared governance is and why it matters in that context. And then, let me come back up. 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth whereas I think is the most important one. It's the one I'll read out loud to you and I'll give you a bit more context. The community college's elected campus governance leader understands the workings of shared governance on a campus. That person's unique perspective is invaluable on a search committee for a new administrator or president. And I think this is really where it's key, is that we have administrators here who come in, they vote on items that affect us, and we need our campus governance leader to be involved in the search so they can explain that we have a college senate, not a faculty senate. I've had to explain that several times on searches I've been on. There's a difference. And can give any new administrator coming in some guidelines about how the resolution process works, gives them a sense of how we get academic work done. We've had several administrators who've come in and we've had to onboard them. We get some who come from other institutions, and so their governance structure is very different. And so this is an opportunity to kind of just get all the cards on the table and make a transition as smooth as possible. This resolution, like I said, does not supersede any collective bargaining agreement. It's simply just to make sure Senate has representation on important searches. The next couple whereases is basically just some key research or some key sources that point to the fact that this is a best practice and it's documented as best practice. And so I put those in there. One super long one. And then we've got 3 resolved statements that faculty should have significant input through existing shared government structure. That in addition to other faculty representatives, the campus governance leader or designee should be included on a community college search committee for an administrator, and then the last resolve deals specifically with the college presidential search. Questions?
You gotta take a motion. Okay, thank you for the introduction, Senator. So I'm going to need a motion to accept this resolution. Jason Steinitz, second. Jackie Bossman. So discussion, questions. Adrian, you need a mic.
Good afternoon, everyone. I believe this resolution in its current form has a couple of major flaws. First of all, it lacks any mention of enforceability. It's an agreement, it becomes college policy, but it cannot be enforced past that point. Secondly, there is an unintended consequence and an impact on other collective bargaining agreements that was not addressed in this resolution. For these reasons, I ask for a motion to postpone the acceptance of this resolution until the next regularly scheduled meeting of the College Senate.
There is a motion on the floor to postpone this vote. I'm going to need a second. Jackie Bollinger. Discussion. Any objections? The motion to the motion to postpone is accepted, or passes, I should say. Okay, so that will move to the May meeting. Thank you, Eric. Next up, we have the Faculty Council of Community Colleges plenary. Jackie Bossman, do you want to come up? Or do you want to sit there? I don't know. What do you want to do? Oh, yeah, I'm going to go. Yeah, just grab a mic. Well, she'll do a mic.
Okay. I'm not going to stand, all right? So I got to hold my laptop. I mean, we're all making adjustments here in the odd. That's very kind, but no thank you. So hopefully everyone's going to be okay with my voice, and you can just feel free to look forward.
All right, which one do you want to do first? Or do you want to give an update and then?
So I'll give an update. And I did stand, so you know what I look like, so you can imagine that. As most of you know, I am the Faculty Council of Community Colleges delegate for Erie Community College. And a few weeks ago, I attended the Faculty Council of Community Colleges plenary. At the plenary, we heard extensively from the new Chancellor. He spoke a great deal about his 4 pillars: student success, diversity, equity, and inclusion, research and scholarship, economic development, and upward mobility. The delegates and the Chancellor had a lively and engaging discussion about how community colleges fulfill these goals in our everyday business with our students and our communities. Dr. King also spoke extensively regarding his meetings with other SUNY campuses. As a group, just the plenary and the Chancellor, we discussed the questions he's interested in learning as he meets with faculty around SUNY. Question 1 being, what is special about your campus? And question 2, what can SUNY do for your campus? And we had a unique opportunity to answer these questions with the Chancellor actually the following week. We also heard from Donna Linderman, the new Senior Vice Chancellor of Student Success, and we discussed several SUNY student success and enrollment strategies. Just to name a few, there's the SUNY Match Initiative, or cascading enrollment. This connects students to other SUNY options in their area if they were not accepted by the school of their choice. Currently, not all 4-year institutions are opting into this mission. As of right now, SUNY does not want state-operated campuses to feel compelled to opt in, but it is, in essence, a mission of the current administration's philosophy and really part of their philosophy of student success. We also discussed the automatic admit program, which seeks to demonstrate to New Yorkers that you have a place in SUNY, quote, as well as promote, this also promotes, an overall growth mindset. So basically what this program will entail is that there will be a letter sent to every high school student that admits them to their local SUNY community college and welcomes them to the SUNY system. In situations where you have an individual living in a county without a community college, they might be accepted to the closest or have a set of options like a set of close community colleges. And finally, we discussed, or also another example, I should say, we discussed the automatic transfer program. And this program, like, dare I say, seamlessly allows students to transfer to from community colleges to state-operated campuses. SUNY holds that, in theory, this is successful among community colleges and state-operated campuses who are, quote, willing to work together for student success. So I'm interested in how our campus is going to, or is already going to, engage in this automatic transfer, and with whom in our area. So and I'm so interested, I asked a follow-up question about auto transfer of the SUNY Erie Chancellor while he was here on his visit. His response just discussed the thought process behind auto transfer and auto admit. Okay, so every plenary, the CPDA committee, which is the Communications, Professional Development, and Awards, it's a lot, big acronym, committee organizes a PowerPoint presentation for the delegates to share with their campuses. I have shared that PowerPoint presentation, so it's in the documents for this meeting. Please feel free to look over the PowerPoint. If you have any lingering questions about the plenary, feel free to catch me after this meeting, or you can send me an email. Okay, it's Bossman, like the wrestler, j@ecc.edu. All right, and there's the PowerPoint right up there. So, we write this, it's relatively easy to get through, but if you're interested in a little more depth behind the slides, then you can come talk to me. Okay, moving forward, we can discuss the resolutions that came from the plenary. So every plenary, the various committees of the council might develop resolutions. We vote on them at the plenary, and once they are approved by the delegates return to their campuses with the resolutions so that our individual governance bodies can vote to endorse these resolutions or not to endorse these resolutions. This is a very important part of the SUNY governance structure. It's an important part of our campus governance, participating in the SUNY governance structure also. So both resolutions that we're discussing today, or I'm bringing to College Senate today, come from the Academic Affairs Committee. We can do AAC 3 first, if that makes sense. And yeah, there we go. Okay, great. This resolution is on inclusive access. The resolution targets predatory systems of textbook distribution that are finding themselves on SUNY campuses, some community colleges. Some campuses have been developing and implementing with their bookstores approaches to charge students fees directly for course materials, claiming a reduction in overall cost. These programs are often named Inclusive Access or First Day Complete or Box of Books, and there's more. So far, no data has been produced that demonstrates that these programs benefit students. The resolution considers the ways in which these programs have been harmful to students and to pedagogy. It also enumerates a set of best practices concerning effective implementation of efforts such as these by bookstores and college campuses. So please feel free to review the resolution if you haven't already. The Faculty Council recognizes that open access course materials are free to students, and new bookstore proposals potentially undermine those OER efforts. The Council strongly encourages faculty, students, and colleges to carefully consider the impact of inclusive access and recognize that while such programs may sell themselves as tools for student access, they might not actually work in students' long-term interest. Also, SUNY is aware of this as a problem and considering it seriously. We can go to the next resolution if voting on them together, or I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. We can just take a look at the next resolution first.
All right, why don't we take a look at it, and then we'll decide if we want to take them together or not.
Is everyone okay with me sitting? It's just like my voice is kind of towering over, like, you know. You just, all right. Okay. The next resolution also came from the Academic Affairs Committee. This resolution is titled Supporting Students and Faculty Faced with Rising Ideological and Anti-Intellectual Attacks on Academic Freedom. So this resolution seeks to affirm SUNY's position on academic freedom in light of rising anti-intellectualism across the country. Feel free to review. The resolution cites the various attacks on DEISJ education that are occurring nationally. Several states have sought to invasively violate the academic freedom of their faculty. This resolution does list a number of policy examples from across the U.S., and please feel free to review those also. The impact of these policies on faculty and students and the culture of academics is severe. And in at least one case, the president of a statewide faculty union has reached out in an open letter, quote, to professional organizations across the country and globe to ask for statements of solidarity that defend the foundational principles of higher education, academic freedom, tenure, and constitutional protections that ensure the free exchange of ideas. The AAUP holds that institutions have, quote, no moral right to bind the reason or the conscience of any professor, and explicitly charges institutions to uphold the public trust when defining academic authority. So the Faculty Council of Community Colleges calls upon the SUNY Chancellor to advocate with the Biden administration for a condemnation of this type of legislation in the strongest possible terms, and calls upon the SUNY Chancellor to seek federal review of accreditation standards for states participating in anti-intellectualism of this nature, as well as calls upon the SUNY Chancellor to champion academic freedom for educational institutions by supporting development of diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts by faculty across the nation. And the Faculty Council also reaffirms the AAUP definition of academic freedom, and that is wholly supported by the federal government and has been for over 100 years, and calls upon SUNY to create a program similar to the border state tuition agreement to be offered to Florida, North Carolina, Texas, and any other area where students in the nation might seek to pursue their studies in an environment of transparency and academic freedom. Finally, the FCCC calls upon the SUNY Chancellor to expand faculty and student recruitment from these states affected by rising ideological and anti-intellectual legislation, which would also diversify SUNY's recruitment efforts, and calls upon the Chancellor to pursue protections for academic freedom, tenure, and freedom of speech on college campuses at the federal level to stand against ideological and anti-intellectual legislation in our country.
All right, so those are the two resolutions that are coming to us from the plenary from Faculty Council of Community Colleges. Jackie, would you like to make a motion to accept both resolutions?
I would.
Okay, second. Michael Rio. Okay, discussion, questions. Derek. Hang on one second for the mic.
Can people hear me? Okay.
I can hear you.
I'm sympathetic to where this is, what their interest is. My concern is before we give the governor of Florida some red meat to go after us, are we sure we know what we're doing? I'm just concerned that maybe we think this through because we're picking a fight, and are we prepared for that fight? And that's my cautious concern.
Yeah, I appreciate that concern. So, I mean, this is it's a little bit more of a complicated process, right? So we wouldn't endorse this resolution and then it wouldn't like go right to CNN, you know? This would be recommended as a policy to the SUNY board and to the SUNY chancellor. And I can speak based on my experience with the SUNY chancellor at the plenary, having conversations about this very topic, that this is something that he would support, does support. However, ultimately, the decision to support would be his and his alone.
Other questions? Comments? Objections? Okay, with there being no objections, the motion to endorse these two resolutions has been passed. Thank you. Anything else for Faculty Council? Good?
No, nothing from me.
Okay, Jason Steinitz?
I just have a quick question. Jackie, you mentioned that the SUNY new chancellor was discussing, like his visits and so on. And we know he came here while most of us were on break. I was just wondering if the administration here had the opportunity to hear any of that information that was discussed at the plenary in order to prepare for his visit here. Was that possible, or was it done? You would be the one to answer that, but.
Yeah, so it was not, it didn't happen. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Erickson?
The only thing I would add to that, to what Jackie shared earlier with regards to the transfer to the four-year schools as well as the auto admit for the high school students, that is something I did have an opportunity to talk with Jackie, and it's also similar to what a lot of the SUNY level meetings have been focused on. And so it's also nice to see then with the plenary and this comprehensive focus on the same initiative. So that was something that was synergistic as we talked about through in the visit.
Great, thank you. Anything else in relation to the information from the plenary? All right, I have COVID vaccination status update on there. I don't know if there's anyone from admin that wants to take that, but basically we all got an email, and I threw it on the agenda just because with registration and things like that going on for the fall, I think it's important that we also make sure we mention that to our students, that the COVID vaccination is no longer necessary for in-person registration, right? So students can attend in-person classes now regardless of vaccination status. I talked to Amy Yoder. If a student has a hold due to COVID vaccination status, either the advisor or the student is going to need to reach out to her directly to get the hold lifted. There is not currently a function in Workday to filter through the students that might have that particular hold on it, so the college can't do that on as a group. They'll have to do it on a case-by-case basis. So if a student has a COVID vaccine hold, email Amy Yoder to have it lifted so they can register for the fall. Any other questions with that? It's like, all right, my phone's not blowing up, so I didn't mess that up. Okay. We have a student here, Ian Stover. He spoke to us in February.
Good afternoon, everyone.
I'm just going to pull up your document here.
Thank you. So, to the question of communication between the student body and the administration, I would like to observe that there is still much work to be done. However, I am also happy to say that that work is being done, not just by the student body, but by the administration itself. This focus group plan is an example of the work being done. I have been working closely with Dr. Sagai, with Catherine Colesto, several students who are here today, as well as professors from across the entire school. And we have all decided that this would be something that the school could definitely use. The focus group is designed to bridge that gap between the students and the administration itself, bypassing much of the bureaucracy that we tend to encounter and just getting right to the root of the problem. This is just a draft and it is subject to change naturally. However, I would just like it to be put out there so that people know what is going on. Right now, we have some tentative dates and times and locations. The dates that can change for the fall semester are currently September 27th and November 8th. That gives us enough time for a month to pass once the semester starts, so that the students can get a feel of what's going on. And then after that, another month passes so that we can see some progress either be made or not be made, and that can be brought up again. The times for these focus groups to be held would be roughly 11:30 to 1. It's a nice central time where most students are on campus and they can stop by, whether it be for the entire event or just for a few minutes to see what's going on. If you excuse me, I'm going to walk to the front so I can see past the podium. So, the locations, we would like the end goal to be that we have a student focus group going on at each and every location across ECC, no matter what happens with South Campus. However, we realize that this is an ambitious initiative, so we should just start it here at North. We have a lot of traffic here at North, and we have a lot of students who are being encouraged to get more involved in the school's happenings. So we'll start it simple and keep it at North. We would like it to be live streamed so that if anybody can't show up and they want to watch it at home, they can still see what's going on. If you scroll down a bit, please. Participation. I want this to be very student-focused, and we have seen that with the administration. However, I would like it to be student-run as well. That means having a coalition of the student ambassadors and the SGA moderating the event. Therefore, the students that attend feel as though they are properly represented. We would, of course, have either the Dean of Students there to help moderate, or any faculty member that would be willing to participate. I understand that right now Jason has a lot on his plate, so Dean of Students is more of just a placeholder. It doesn't have to be him. It would be a volunteer-based system. That means any student who wants to participate, they would just have to raise their hands and we would go through, the students. If a sign-in process would be easier, then we can establish that. There will be established topics that would be brought up by the moderators, just to keep things in order so that we're not jumping around from topic to topic. The topics of interest would start off, and this is just from these students that I've talked to, these are the highest concerns as of right now. Student services, academics, tutoring services, campus beautification efforts, online platforming, resource allocation, and then of course we have an other/miscellaneous section for any small praise or concern that wasn't mentioned earlier on in the meeting. I understand that we have a lot on our plates right now. The students recognize that, and we appreciate all the work that you've been doing. And we want to give a little something back. And we feel as though that having a student focus group would alleviate some of that stress off of the faculty and staff. And not only that, but it would bridge that gap of communication just so that everybody is on the same page and we can continue to move forward. Are there any questions?
Okay, great. Thank you, Ian.
All right, thank you.
Awesome. All right, so we are just about towards the end of the meeting and to the portion of the meeting for the good of the order. So of course, a reminder that is for anything that you might have a question about, concern, anything like that that you weren't sure could be brought up previously, it can be brought up now. Is there any questions or comments? Pat Ryan.
Can I have 3?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You're Pat
Real
Ryan.
quick.
You could do whatever you want.
Wow, thank you. Now, first, there's an OER grant that SUNY is offering. I'm looking for an academic department to be a dance partner here. Basically, if you want to expand the OER within your department, shoot me an email. Let me know what you kind of want to do, and we'll see if we can work it into the parameters of the grant and see what we can do to make that happen. That's the first one.
Question. Can it be a department that's already using OER? Does it have to be someone new?
It can be an active department. The issue is meeting the criteria and becoming a tasty treat for SUNY. I mean, they're looking at the dollars saved per student. So if you're a department that's 85% OER and you're not bringing too many book costs down, probably we're going to get passed. Okay. We're in a state where our fall semester is about 35% OER already. So finding this partner is a little hard. So if we could find that, that would be great. But if you're interested, email me, ryanp@ecc.edu, and we'll look at your situation, see if you fit the guidelines, and we'll see what we can do. Debating order here. Second, at a previous Senate meeting, there were comments about missing emails to faculty member that originated in Brightspace. Here's what happened. When Brightspace launched for us, the course messaging tool actually functioned as an email tool as well. So if a student put your email address in the to box and hit send, you would get the message over at your ECC email address, and it would say at the bottom, which is just a footer, go back to Brightspace to respond, but there's no message there because your student never sent it to you in Brightspace, they sent it to you in ECC. So I fixed the problem. I had SUNY turn that off so students couldn't do that anymore.
Perfect.
So that situation is solved. The third one, we were volunteered in a pilot for Turnitin's artificial intelligence detection software. We did not opt into this. We were opted in by just being a client of Turnitin. That went to every client they had. It is free to the college through December. So I've had some emails that why don't we have it past December? Well, Turnitin hasn't figured out how to charge anybody yet. We don't know what the costs are. We don't know if we can afford it. There's a lot of factors there in that. I just want you to be careful if you are using that detection software. They admit it's not 100% accurate. Kathy actually sent me a video the other day that was on CBS News, and one of the students there wrote a paper in front of everybody, and it was 100% AI detected when the student wrote it themselves. So be very careful using that tool. Remember that it is a pilot. If I had the option to opt us out, I probably would have, but we didn't have that option. Questions on any one of the three? Joe, did I cover that well? Where'd you go? Good? Okay.
Awesome, thanks, Pat. Any
I got
questions?
three done in 5
Amy,
minutes.
oh, all right, no question. Sabrina has a question, and then you have a thing, okay.
Not so much a question as a statement. I've been using the AI detection tool on Turnitin, and it has uncovered a number of AI-generated papers. And I've actually, when confronting the students with it, they've admitted it. So the thing is that the way I've been using it is that there are certain tells when you have an AI-generated paper, and the tool backs me up on it. It gives me something that says, look, because if you just make the accusation yourself, they're going to say, oh, no, no. But if you've got technology behind it, then they fess up to it. But it's basically, if you look at a paper and it's, first of all, grammatically perfect, like more grammatically perfect than I could make it. The AIs are extremely good at that. And then secondly, it'll start off kind of on topic, and it will either wander off topic until it ends in a completely bizarre place, or you'll see that there are citations and quotations in it that don't exist. This is especially true of something like a literature paper, where you'll get one character saying something that they never said in the story because the AI is making it up. So if you notice those kind of things, then you can go to Turnitin. You have to click on the student's percentage, and a lot of times it will say there's a 0% of copying because it's all newly generated. But if you click on that, it'll take you through, you'll see the whole feedback studio, and an AI score will come up. So it's very common to get 0% plagiarism, 100% AI.
Thank you, Sabrina. All right, Amy?
I just wanted to take a moment to thank the college community for the donations that the Student Ambassador Program received for the Buffalo City Mission, and to also announce that our current drive is in effect. I'm sure everyone probably got the email supporting the Friends of the Night people, and so that will run until May 6th. The deliveries of both donations will be done around the same time. Tentatively, Buffalo City Mission will be delivered on May 1st, and then we're running the Friends of the Night people donation until May 6th. So the flyer went out with information on items needed, so please consider donating to this worthy cause as well. And I just wanted to thank everyone for their participation.
Awesome, thank you. Brian Millville?
Just might be what the final reminder. We've got the catalog updates for 23-24. We're trying to funnel all those through the college-wide curriculum committee. So if you have any, please get them to us. Last meeting is in May. That's it.
Can't see who that is back there. Kristen. Oh, Kristen Goss.
Do we have any updates on City Campus? Still July, I heard.
Paul? He's nodding his head.
The fifth floor is pretty much done. They're doing painting in there. They've reinstalled a lot of the ceiling tile. The bookstore was handed over, I think last Wednesday, I believe, to the reconstruction company. They left up the abatement type of barriers because they're dealing with some mold in the floor, but most of the abatement work is wrapping up. There's a little bit of a delay because a lot of the plaster that had to be replaced, there's a 21-day curing time to it before they can start painting, but it's moving along really well. So yeah, I would say June, July at the latest even. I mean, these guys are all chomping at the bit to get out and get into the school districts for their summer work. So they're not, sitting around.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul. Other questions? Is it Tahira? Sorry, there's like a light right above you, ladies. I wish it was the sunshine, but it's not.
Hi, I'm sorry. I just want to talk about an incident that occurred at South Campus. This was actually a couple of weeks ago. A student who was in the auto body program, who's typically at the VTT Center, but comes and takes 1 or 2 classes on the South Campus. His class happened to be canceled that day at South Campus. I believe it was an English class. However, he was waiting in Building 6, waiting for the shuttle to come and pick him up right outside of the gym area. At this time, the police academy was there doing their training, and he was intrigued by what they were doing inside of the gym. The doors were open, and because he was watching for, I don't know if it was faculty members, police officers, or whomever, and I'm going to use the word, accosted him and demanded to see his ID. The student was extremely afraid. He said, I don't have my ID on me. I do have my class schedule, if that will suffice. I also have a picture of my ID. And after going, back and forth with them, just saying, hey, I'm not here to cause any trouble. I was just intrigued by what you guys are doing. He was terrified. And eventually they let him go. It was males. It was 4 of them. And he actually came to the library because he has a relationship with one of the librarians from just doing work in the library. He told the librarian, but he did say that I don't, want to make a big deal out of this, but, I just want to share that this happened. And the librarian shared it with me. I said, you need to report this ASAP because our students shouldn't be getting accosted for simply watching something. If it was so top secret, perhaps they should have shut the door. I probably would have said, are you interested in the police academy? Would you like to join? Is there some information I can help you with? But he was terrified, and I just want people to know that, one, I have always been told that, yes, faculty can ask students for their ID, but there needs to be some sort of probable cause or some issue, But, he wasn't doing anything. All he was doing was looking. And unfortunately, this was an African-American male. And all of the officers or faculty members, whomever they were all white males. And it terrified the mess out of him. And so, while we have the student first model, that is not how our students should be treated. And I'm not sure, where this has gone. It's been a few weeks now. And to be honest, even the librarian took a while to report it, for whatever reason. But I did encourage that person to do so. They did. And I'm not sure where that issue stands, but we need to make sure that situations like this are not happening. He's going to share this incident with not only his family and friends, but whomever asks. This will always be a memorable, moment for that student when it comes to ECC now. And the first thing I'd like to ask is, are faculty members allowed to just simply ask students for their IDs if they're not involved in anything, I'll just say nefarious? And, I don't even know if the police academy teachers, are they faculty members, police officers? How does that work?
Ariam?
Sure, absolutely. I think, one, as I was listening to what you were describing, that's very disturbing, right? That should not happen to any of our students at whatever campus, and that should not happen by any of our faculty or staff, period, in the discussion, right? There's a way to ask for information if we're not sure who the students or who the individual may be. There's a way to do that so that you have that relationship where you start building that relationship. And the other thing, this is the first time I'm hearing it, part of what we need to do at South or other campuses, to what our students are saying is that really create a communication so that we know information gets to the appropriate person so it's handled quickly and be able to address it. So I will personally meet with the student and really understand what happened. We will also meet with the department or with the police academy to understand what happened and what caused for that. But at the end of the day, it is unacceptable. That should not happen for our students or for that matter for our faculty and staff. So I do apologize for the student going through that experience, and that should not happen.
I'd also like to point out quick that Dean Yoder has reached out to the student multiple times. She just texted me, but she has not been able to get a hold of the student. So the student hasn't responded.
Yeah, part of it is, right, our students come and give us that, and then if it's a week or 2 weeks later, we try to reach out to them, they're not going to respond. So part of the thing that we have to do is that when a student or anyone that's visiting us experience this uncomfortable situation, we need to immediately address it. Our students are not going to give us a chance. So what we do immediately, and the other thing we have to talk about is that this idea, it's not my job, it's not my responsibility, I have to take them to somewhere else, let's do that. We don't have time for that. So when we are talking about student first and being a student college ready, that means we have to take that responsibility. This is basic fundamental stuff that we need to immediately address. And if students see that from all of us, they will respond different. And when we reach out to them, they will come back and listen to us. But part of our issue is that students don't come back to us because it takes 2-3 weeks for us to respond to them. Or we don't respond right because we send them to different people or different offices and they can't get a hold of us.
Colleen Reedy?
I was just going to say that Dean Yoder has attempted multiple times when she found out about it and has not been able to reach the student. But
Right, she tried again this week. So, Sabrina?
So I had something happen to me that kind of surprised me earlier this semester, and it seems kind of appropriate to mention it in this context. So in one of my classes, one of my students came to me. Now, I'm at City Campus, and we're in the Oak Street building. And this was an African-American young man. And what he said to me was, and he said it kind of in front of the whole class, he was like clearly upset. He said, well, somebody out in the hall, I was going to the bathroom, and somebody out in the hall came up to me and said, oh, can I help you find something? Now, this is the city campus. This is 45 Oak. We had to move all the classes. The first several weeks of semester, there was some displacement, right? And I wouldn't have thought anything of that. But he was upset. And then I saw like about half of the class was saying the same sort of thing. They were reading that, can I help you find something, as a masked way of saying you don't belong here. And so it just kind of opened my eyes that sometimes something that would seem really innocuous to us is not so innocuous, and we really have to be careful the way we phrase things.
Thank you. Anything else for the good of the order? Oh, I see him bringing Tahira.
I just wanted to add, even if you can't contact the student, is it possible that you can actually contact the police academy and to see who was there on that day and to see if they had an incident? Because the student isn't going to say anything. He was already intimidated, and he really didn't want to make a...
You need a mic.
Okay.
We're going to find the student because I think part of it is that our strategy, emailing students or calling that they're not used to, people they're not talking to. So I'm pretty sure if we look at the student record and find out who the teachers, there's a way to contact students that's different, right? So our regular normal process may not work, but we are going to talk to the police academy to figure out what really happened, right? I think that's that's important. How long was this?
Probably 3.5 weeks now.
That's a problem. That is a problem. And we all know this, right? I'm not saying anything that's new, is that students are not going to give us too much opportunity, right? Even what Sabrina's indicating, the terminology that we use indicates, right? Perhaps you don't belong there. So the idea that we need to be immediately responding to our students, especially this type of sensitive issue, has to happen immediately. But I tell you what, the next time we meet, we're going to make sure that we are able to contact the student or through the department and otherwise, we'll find the student.
Okay, and I just want to add, had it been me, had the student come to me, I would have walked directly back to the auditorium with the student. right, like you said, we can't wait to handle situations like that. So I just want to encourage other people that if students do come to you, to try to intervene exactly at that moment and advocate for the student, or at least, find out who's involved so that they can further advocate for themselves. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Bob?
So I just want to caution right now, because we don't know exactly what's going on. This may not have been the police academy. It may have been an outside rental, especially in the Kitsy there. So, and I just want to mention it just because it's going out to YouTube, and we'll figure out what's going on after that.
Dan Frontera? No? Maybe?
Not only that, we do share space in a regular basis with the Erie County Sheriffs in that area. So they are in there and doing training with their corrections officers and sheriff's deputies on a regular basis.
All right, so we don't know exactly who is, so we'll leave it to administration to sort it out before we say who it is. Mary Ann?
Yeah, since none of us were there personally, we can't say for sure, so I'm sure our officer in charge will get to the bottom of it. But as I was listening to this, a lot of things were troubling. If it was any of the law enforcement offices, that is a concern, and I believe before COVID, there was a concern that the college was involved in the diversity, equity, and inclusion with law enforcement at this institution. I don't believe that ever happened. The other thing with that, I believe Jackie talked about SUNY wanting to, again, reinforce the idea that we want to look at diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, and that addresses what Sabrina had said. A lot of times students don't feel like they belong, but part of it is because many of us at this institution just day to day forget the need to make sure that they are members that feel belong, because we walk around with our own biases, busy to our own inclusive ideas. And again, we might need to reinstitute some of those practices and workshops that we ran here, because there is a lot of that going on. And if we want to attract students, it's important. One of the things I noticed when the Chancellor was here, that was another piece that was important. So we can't just keep talking the talk. We've got to walk the walk. And there's a lot of instances where students do not feel like they are belonging here. And I think we publicly need to address it throughout all of the departments and units throughout this institution. I think we have stepped away from it since 2020, and maybe it's time to re-implement those ideas again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Anything else for the good of the order? All right, it is 4:07. Our next College Senate meeting is May 9th, the last full week of the semester, and a little over 2 weeks from graduation. So everybody have a great end of the semester. Stay strong, stay positive, and we'll see you in May. Thank you. Again, thank you to our AV team. You guys are the bomb. Amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you.